Conquer reported speech. Unchanging modal verbs in English. Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another exciting lesson. Today we're going to focus on a very important aspect of English grammar: modal verbs in reported speech. Specifically, we're going to dive deep into modal verbs that do not change in reported speech. It's simpler than it sounds, I promise. So, let's get started. Before we begin, let's do a quick recap of what reported speech is. Reported speech is when we tell someone what another person said. For example, if John says, "I will go to the park," and I want to tell someone else what John said, I would use reported speech and say, "John said he would go to the park." In reported speech, the tense often shifts back. This is called backshift. However, there are some exceptions to this rule, especially when dealing with modal verbs. Now, what are modal verbs? Modal verbs are auxiliary, or helping, verbs that express possibility, ability, permission, or obligation. Examples of modal verbs include can, could, may, might, must, will, would, should. Now we come to the heart of our lesson today. There are certain modal verbs that do not change when we shift from direct to reported speech. And these verbs are could, would, should, might, and ought to. Let's go over some examples. Direct speech. He said, "I should study for the test." Reported speech. He said he should study for the test. Direct speech. She said, "We might visit France next year." Reported speech. She said they might visit France next year. As you can see, the modal verbs should and might do not change in reported speech. Let's practice this a bit. I will give you sentences in direct speech, and your task is to convert them into reported speech. 1. "I could help you with the project," he offered. 2. "You would love the book," she suggested. 3. "We ought to be there on time," they decided. Remember, the modal verbs in these sentences should remain the same when you convert them into reported speech. And that's a wrap on modal verbs that do not change in reported speech. I hope this lesson was helpful and clarified this area of English grammar for you. Remember, understanding these nuances can greatly improve your fluency and comprehension. So keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Happy learning!